There are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
28 years later is either the most artistically brilliant zombie movie ever put to screen, or an auteur's fever dream that can give the likes of Zardoz a run for its money.
Zardoz speaks to you.
You will show me how you come to be here.
Well, maybe not. But one thing's for sure, this ain't your daddy's zombie movie.
It doesn't feel like a sequel, it feels like an original film.
The film starts off feeling like a Danny Boyle project, with rougher, more indie-style camera work that's easily recognizable from 28 Days Later. And then it opens up to some really heavy, atmospheric establishing shots, accompanied by some dark and jarring music, interspersed with historical movie clips and the ever-unsettling Rudyard Kipling poem Boots, about the Second Boer War.
Don't look at what's in front of you. Boo.
The whole thing quickly establishes a bleak setting layered over with an atmosphere of subtle dread. You get that this is going for a more cinematic feel, a more artistic slant, and that is probably going to be unlike anything else in the genre. It's fantastically done, and the movie never lets up from there. The cinematography is executed so well, with frequent angle and perspective changes, unconventional camera work, and alternatively wide, sweeping shots of beautiful vistas and grimy, claustrophobic hallways. Visually, the camera work is on a level you'd rarely find in most movies, let alone a zombie movie. I guess it was filmed on iPhone, so that may have had something to do with it. Almost everything takes place outdoors among the forests and shores of northern England. It's beautiful but bleak and threatening at the same time. The story focuses on 12-year-old Spike and his mother and father who live on a small island village separated from the UK mainland by a long causeway that's only exposed during low tide. While there is some world building devoted to the island refuge and how they've adapted to the hellscape they've been forced to live in 28 years after the outbreak, while the rest of the world ensures that the quarantine is enforced, it's mostly shown through people's actions, attire, and behaviors. It's subtly done, and the movie's better off for it. Spike's mother is obviously suffering from some kind of sickness, though it's not immediately clear what, other than it seems to be delirium of some sort. Spike's father, Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, is one of the few people assigned to venture outside the walls onto the mainland to scavenge for the village. He's decided that his 12-year-old son is now old enough to go with him, and takes him out for some on-the-job training. And this is where the best part of the movie kicks off. I absolutely love the first half of the film. It's a more conventional take on a zombie movie than the second half, but it's done so well, with such oppressive atmosphere, grotesque and inventive zombies, and interesting and intense cinematography. It all feels so visceral and occasionally terrifying, in terms of the safety of our two lone characters. It's rare that I care about characters enough to grip my chair in the theater, but this is one of those times. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, after reinventing the zombie genre with fast zombies, or more specifically, people infected with the rage virus, in 28 Days Later,
they haven't died and come back to life. They're living people who've got sick and been infected with the rage virus.
have managed to not reinvent, but certainly differentiate their zombies enough from the endless cavalcade of other offerings out there. There are similarities, of course, including Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, but they come off as grittier and more stylistically interesting in this. They feel disgusting, deadly, and most importantly, disturbing. From bloated cadavers dragging themselves across the ground, to naked, grimy rage zombies hunting in packs, gaunt and starved corpses that sit up and chase you, and giant alpha zombies that can plot your demise and rip your head off when they catch up with you. The zombies in this represent some of the best of what can be done within this very well-worn genre. Hats off to that. Superb zombies, awesome kills, and brutal kill shots that occasionally feel like a video game with a kill cam. It's all really fascinatingly nasty stuff. The part that's likely to be a lot more divisive is the story. About halfway through, the story veers off in a different direction. The focus shifts, and Spike's purpose is given new life in the form of a poorly thought out quest. It's from this point on that the movie stops being a conventional zombie thriller and approaches something more like Apocalypse Now, especially in the case of Ralph Fiennes' character. There's a journey into the heart of darkness and an examination of societal collapse from virus-induced apocalypse and the resulting distortion of moral order. The pacing is slower and more meaningful. That's not to say it's boring, there are still plenty of gnarly zombie encounters, but it treads dangerously close to art house territory, which may be a good or bad thing depending on your perspective. There's a hard coming of age or loss of innocence theme that runs throughout the second half, which brings a lot more symbolism and introspection to the forefront. This is no longer just about survival, but about interpretations of life and death and how the veneration of death can bring meaning to life. It gets a little weird, and I think that might lose some people who just want to see an evolution of the first entry in the series, or who might find some of the film's attempts at philosophizing a bit too pretentious. I think the moral questions raised are really interesting, and the concepts generally work well, but there are a couple events that make you go, huh? How the hell would that work? And the ending sucks. I hated it. I had no idea this thing's supposed to be the first in a new trilogy from Danny Boyle, and the ending is built for that, a kind of cliffhanger, and introduces something only hinted at throughout the film. So you get this wacky reveal that feels tonally inconsistent with everything else that's been established, and cut to credits. What the hell? Then I discovered this is just one part of a planned trilogy. It still doesn't make it any better, in my opinion. Even trilogies can and should have good standalone endings. So I hated the ending, really liked the messed up journey in the second half, and loved the first half. You may not agree that it's one of the better zombie movies in a while, but it's certainly one of the most thoughtful. I'm sure this is going to be a divisive film. It's also a far departure in story and style from 28 Days Later, so just know that if you're hoping for something similar. For my part, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's a solid flick. If it had maintained the trajectory from the first half, as conventional as it is, I'd probably give it an 8. The rest of the movie is fascinating and makes a sincere effort to bring you something thoughtful and new. But there were a few questionable moments. And that ending. Maybe when the whole trilogy is out, I'll feel differently, but I am looking forward to seeing what's next, for sure. So, are you a zombie fan? Did you see 28 years later, or just 28 days or weeks later? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.